Ako galawin, di ba? Pwede mo ito galaw. Ito lang naman. Ito, di na kailangan. Di na. Maya-maya pag nag-start. 37 minutes. Baka na. Sinisend ko na muna yung battery for me. Pag na-close niya ako, pwede nililig.
Gando lang, gando lang.
Kaya pinili ko na ito lahat. Maganda yung mga sa labas. Ano kaya yan? Alive na tayo. Kasi we're so, ano tawag? Tayo ay tawag doon. Ito kayo malikot.
Doon ba lang? Makita ka sa yung ano.
Nililikot daw siya. Uy, naku.
Ba't bakante na alam ko?
Okay lang naman. Basta magkalimot tayo ng camera. Matutwelting naman ako. O, tingnan mo siya. Dumaan pa. Alam mo, sobrang biyak ako. Oo, wala na nagdadaan. Pag tumayo kayo, pag ano, wala na, nag-lock na. Hindi na nakita na yung ano. Life tension. Russell Silverhawks Hotel. Uy, Russell, yung hotel. Dapat broadcast. Dapat naman.
Punta na una kami sa'yo po. Ano sa'yo? Bilang na. May nakatawag sa kayo Lalabas ka?
May we request everyone to kindly take their seats as the program will begin in 5 minutes. We'd also like to take this opportunity to remind everyone to please turn off their mobile phones or place them on silent mode to minimize any disruptions and distractions during the program. Thank you. Team Alveo, please settle down. Our program is about to start. Thank you.
So give me your love. I need it.
let us welcome our host from Alveo Human Resources, Mr. Gabe Kipo.
Good morning, Team Alveo! Okay, let's start the morning right. I'm gonna ask you guys to please stand. Stand first. Okay, now, if you see vacant seats in front of you, I'm gonna ask you now to bring your stuff and move to the front. Okay, let's go. Let's go. If you don't have enough energy, munch on the apple or banana we gave you this morning. Okay, come on, let's go. Energy food. There you go. Alright, it's so nice to see all the 1 South and North Star folks. How y'all doing? Woo! There you go. For those who are seated in the red seats at the back, you can still move forward. We have a lot of vacant seats here. We're one Alveo family, come on. And I have good news for you. The faster you move, the earlier we finish. So let's go. Well done. See, the crowd looks so much better and more exciting. Oh, we have our newcomers. Come in, come in. Let's go. Let's get started. Okay, thank you so much. We appreciate your cooperation. And now let's say hi to our ManCom regional sales heads and regional sales directors in the front row seats. Hello to you guys. Okay. Now, today, okay, we're going to ask you to settle down now. Thank you so much. Now, today's very exciting. We have a guest speaker. We're going to learn a lot about her. Who here has tried triathlon? Even tried. Okay. Try means 3. 3, so it's swim, bike, run. No, just swim by the shore. Okay, swim, bike, run. Let me tell you this sport is not just about physical strength, it's about mental toughness and so many things, and we're gonna learn from our guest speaker. I just want you to imagine this, okay? You're going to swim for 2 miles. That's from BGC to Makati. And for that, you're going to run. After that, that's BGC, that type of run. And then you ride the bike for 112 miles. That's BGC to New Valley 4 times. That's the reaction I'm going to expect from you guys. Yes, it's more than just a sport. It's something that powerful people can really in their mind and not just physically. So today, I am so excited to introduce our guest speaker. Imagine she did all these 15 times. She championed it. 15 times out of 50 tries. One more challenge. She's the master in Southeast Asia. So doing that, under the heat of Manila. Okay, so I'm really excited. Our guest speaker has won 15 times of this. An Australian Ironman Hall of Famer, ladies and gentlemen, 15-time Ironman distance champion, Belinda Granger.
Is, even though I've been in the sport for over 25 years and I've competed in 50 of these crazy swim, bike, run, what we call Ironman triathlon, I have never actually spoken to this many people in a studio this size. So I'm nervous. And you'd think after all these years, after all the things I've put myself through, that I wouldn't suffer from nerves anymore. But you know, I'm 47 years of age now, so I'm not young. And for me, it's all about getting out of your comfort zones. I think we all get too comfortable in the lives that we're in. And for me now, one of the key things that I say to myself every morning is be comfortable being uncomfortable. And it's tough because we get used to our lives and our routines and we become complacent. And when I gave up racing about 3 years ago, I had to ask myself the question where from here, what do I do now? How am I going to test myself every single day? I'm not training like I used to, I'm not racing like I used to, but I still want to test myself and I still want to push myself and see what my limits are. So I had to come up with new ideas and new ways, which I'm going to talk to you today about. Because at the end of the day, I think there are so many parallels that we can draw between sports people and yourselves being in the industry that you're in. It's a cutthroat industry. Just like sports is a cutthroat industry. If you don't make the grade, if you don't win races, you don't get sponsors. If you don't get sponsors, you don't make money. And you also don't feel very good about yourselves either. So the first thing I'm going to talk about today is inspiration, because I think it's such a strong word and something that I think we can all use in all facets of life. Now, when I talk about inspiration, I want you to think for the next few minutes, who or what actually really inspires you? When I was growing up, obviously I was a very sporty young girl, so a lot of the great sports people inspired me. Today, I think of names such as Roger Federer as a tennis player. I think he inspires many. He's probably the most amazing sports person in the world. James LeBron. I know basketball's a big sport here in the Philippines, is that right? I think my team's Alaska Aces. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I watched the game the other night on Saturday night. It was a great game. And you know, I look at these basketball players and they are inspiring. But really, if I really look at it, they have it easy. As an elite athlete for 20 years, I had it easy. I got to get up every morning and do what I love, and I got paid for it. So as an elite sports person, we have no other responsibilities except for ourselves. We get to train all day, we get to go to the most amazing countries in the world, and we get to do what we love to do, we get to race. So is that really inspiring? Since I've been retired for 3 years now, what I find the most inspiring are everyday people like yourselves doing extraordinary things. That's what's inspiring to me. It's looking at people like very hard, long hours, day in, day out, but are still willing to try new things and to put themselves in situations where it is nerve-wracking, where it is a little bit scary, where there is the fear of failure. I was down at the big triathlon down in Subic Bay on the weekend. It was the inaugural Ironman Philippines. So it's the first time that you've had an Ironman distance race in the Philippines run by the Ironman brand. And as we said, it's a 3.8 kilometre swim, 180 kilometre bike and a marathon to finish with in extremely tough conditions. And I saw 1,100 athletes toe the line that morning. Some of them, of that 1,100, I think 17 were professional athletes. So this is their job. For the other 1,100, They were everyday people, like yourselves, with full-time jobs, with families, with children that they're raising, and they found the time to prepare for this event and to put it on the line on race day. And we have one of these young men sitting here today with us now. His name's Rico Manuel, and he actually is head of operations for Davao in the company. And he's going to hate me for bringing his name up now, but I think he is a true testament to what this sport stands for. And it's about the journey to get to the start line. So Rico's been training for many, many months for this race, and long hours where he's been away from his wife, away from his children. He's had to do it early in the morning and late at night because he works long hours like yourselves. Race day came, he was prepared. Unfortunately, on the bike ride, he suffered a flat tyre and a rip to his tyre. There was nothing he could do, so it was out of his control. He couldn't continue. And I remember he tried everything. He persevered, he tried to fix the tyre. It was impossible. For most disaster, it would be just the worst feeling ever to have trained so hard for something for so long, to have it come to an end like that, completely out of his control. But I saw him the next day at breakfast, and though I know he was disappointed, it's like not to finish, he kept a level head, he was realistic about it, and he's moving forward. Of course, he's desperately looking for the next race. But I look at Rico and I think you are a true testament to what inspires me. What inspires me today is someone like Rico who has a very, very difficult job where he works long hours, he has a wife and children, but he still decided to take on this challenge. And it didn't quite come off for him in the end, but already, instead of being depressed and down in the doldrums about it, he's already looking for the next race where he can show all the hard work that he's done. And I think that's a really important message to all you out there today, that, you know, sometimes things aren't always going to be great, always going to be at the top or go the way that you want them to go. But it doesn't mean failure and it doesn't mean the end. It's all about dusting ourselves off, reassessing, resetting, and bringing the next day, a new day, and moving forward. So that brings me to my next slide on motivation. And I often get asked, how do you stay motivated, Belinda? Day in, day out, year in, year out. I was one of the oldest professional athletes on the circuit before I retired, so I think I was about 43 years of age, which is, let's face it, it's old for an elite sports person. But I still love the sport, and I often got asked the question, what motivates me? What motivates me to get out of bed every morning to keep doing the same thing over and over, and to try and make improvements every day? But when you do something that you love, it's very, very easy to stay motivated. But it's all about finding things that motivate you. So I want you to think about what's an activity that motivates you. Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sporting activity. For me, I love to get up every morning and go for a run. Now, the reason I like doing that is because I can do it anywhere around the world. All I need is a pair of running shoes. Most hotels have a gym with a treadmill, or I can run outdoors. And every time I get up, even though when that alarm goes off, I hate it. The alarm went off this morning really early. I set the alarm at 5 so that I could do a 30-minute run before I came here today. And often people say, well, you're crazy, why didn't you just leave it and go for a run after? I do my best work. I have my best ideas. I feel my best if I can get a 30-minute run done every morning before I start my day. It allows me to think about what's going on, what I need to think about for the day. It gives me fresh ideas, it gives me perspective. And I think if you can find something that you love, it doesn't necessarily have to be running, it can be yoga, it can be a power walk with family or friends, but I think if you can find something that truly motivates you, make it part of your routine. Get up every morning, make the effort, because I can guarantee you it will be worth it. The audience today, actually, for work. Anyone. Oh, Rico. I can always depend on Rico. Okay, I saw a few hands. And that's great. And look, I understand, you know, it's difficult. We've all got excuses. We've all got family to look after. The traffic is just a little bit bad in Manila, so it's often time-consuming. But if you can just try every day to find an activity that you can do that can start your day off correctly. It's a scientific fact that you will be more productive at work, that you will have greater ideas, that you will thrive for the day. And I think if you ask many people that are sports people, and not elite sports people, just active people, they will agree with you that if you can do something every morning and make it part of your routine, so a part of your lifestyle, it will make a huge difference. So next slide, consistency. So moving on from motivation, it's all about consistency. This applies to your work. Consistency. Don't think I'm going to stand here and tell you that I was consistently good throughout my career, because I wasn't. There are many days when I woke up and I didn't feel like getting up and going training. Just like I'm sure with you guys, we won't tell the boss. There's many days where you get up and you don't feel like going to work. That's normal human behaviour. But the key to success is consistency. Day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. You need to come up with strategies, with ways to keep that consistency going. You need to make sure it fits into your lifestyle. So if we're going back to an activity, for example, let's say you've decided to join a gym because you want to get fitter, you want to get stronger, you want to feel good about yourselves. Because if you feel good about yourselves, this shows, and your positive energy that comes off you, it's obvious to everyone. If you can't feel good about yourselves, you can't feel good about others. So if you can find an activity that you can do that fits in with your lifestyle, then it's something that you'll consistently do. How often have you bought gym memberships and after about a month, you've realised you've only been there once or twice? We've all done it. Because at the end of the day, you didn't choose something that you truly love and that fits in with your lifestyle. So when I retired from triathlon 3 years ago, the biggest compliment that I'm given every day when I go to races is, "Oh, are you still racing?" And I'm like, "No, I've been retired for 3 years. Why do you say that?" "Well, you still look like you could go out and race." And I'm like, well, just because I'm not racing anymore doesn't mean I stop looking after myself. Doesn't mean that I don't still feel like feeling good, that I want to look good, that I want to be fit and healthy, because I know for me, it's everything. So I still get up every morning, I still have that routine, I still have that discipline. I still get up every morning and I train. And then I do the same thing in the afternoon. It's a little different now because obviously I have a job and I have to work just like you guys. But I still, because I made it a part of my lifestyle, I couldn't imagine, even when I travel and I'm on a completely different time zone, I couldn't imagine a day go by where I didn't do something active or do something for myself. Whether it be a run or a swim or yoga or even just a walk with friends. I mean, here in Manila, I've been to Manila many times, but I've never really got to discover Manila. So yesterday afternoon, as one of my training sessions, I took a big walk all around and it's unreal. I got to see places and things that I hadn't seen before. So activity is actually a great thing to do because it helps you discover new and interesting things that you didn't even know existed. And I found Toby's Estate Coffee, so that made me very happy. All right, next point. So be the best you can be. I had to say this to myself every single day. And the reason I'm up here now, and I think the reason that they decided to get me as an elite sports person up here is because there are so many parallels between being a sports person and being a sales rep. Now, I've heard along the grapevine that you guys, all of you, have been on top of your game for the last 4 years, which is incredible. Because even as a sports person, one of you out here is amazing. And you obviously know what it's like to be at the top and how difficult it is. And you must have to ask yourself every morning, am I being the best I can be? And it's difficult. But the most important thing about being the best is that you constantly are being tested. Now, I know many times when there have been athletes that have been at the best of their game and they've been winning race after race after race, one or two things happens. They become complacent and they think that they're always going to be there, or the stress and the pressure of being number one gets to them, and all of a sudden it's all too hard. And this is exactly what happens to sports people. And they go one of two ways. So we have a world champion at the moment. He's a German. His name's Jan Frodeno. Amazing. He is a professional athlete in every sense of the word. He's number one. He wins every race he lines up for. He speaks 4 or 5 different languages. His speaking engagements are intelligent. Whenever we tried new sports growing up as kids with our parents, she was always the more talented. When we started swim lessons, we started racing swim squad, she was the one that used to beat me. She's 2 years younger than me. She didn't become a sports person. She wasn't interested because she's just not competitive. It didn't interest her. Still to this day, it doesn't interest her. On the other hand, I was born with this competitive spirit to be the best I could be, to continually test myself. And everyone knew from the time I was about 8 years of age that this would be my destiny, that I would be an elite athlete in a sport of some choice. And of course that sport was triathlon. And now my sister and I look back and we laugh because we're so different. But now we joined the gym together because obviously I needed to find an activity post-racing that would keep me motivated, that would keep me to get me out of bed every morning, that would keep me feeling fit and healthy and good about myself. And so I joined this special gym that we've just started at home called F45. It's 45 minutes of work. So it's perfect. It doesn't take all day. I go in, I get it done, and I leave. But the greatest thing about this is I get to do it with my sister. It's something she likes to do. So every afternoon at 4:30, we meet at this gym, and I look forward to it. So I get up in the morning, do a little exercise, I work all day, and then at 4:30, I look forward to the gym and getting this session done because I get to do it with my best friend, my sister. And I love it. And that's my routine, day in, day out. So I found something post-racing that inspires me, that makes me feel motivated, that gets me out of bed all day. And I think it's important that you try and find something like that as well. Something that inspires you, something that keeps you motivated. Continue day in, day out while it's something that your lifestyle doing. And lastly, lead a healthy and active lifestyle. As I've said, it is obvious, scientifically obvious, that if you are fit and healthy, you're going to be more productive, you're going to come up with greater ideas. Your positive energy is there, it's already there. And I can see it in the 2 people sitting in front of me now. Both Rico and Aris, when I first met them, I knew that they were both sports people. And this is before I even knew that they were triathletes. Because I can see, it's a feeling you get, they are just such positive, healthy, really lovely people. And I feel all the more better for having met them. And now that I've got to know them both, you know, how many of you out there know that Aris does crazier events than what I've ever done? Does ultra marathon running. Now, my event when I raced used to go for about 9.5 hours. Aris did a race a few months ago that went for 21 hours. Now, even for a sports person like myself, for me that's mind-boggling. But at the same time, it's also incredibly inspiring. And it makes me think, you know what? Maybe one day I will do that too. And I did my first off-road marathon this year and I thought I was pretty good. But that was 42 kilometres. This race was 100 kilometres. So even for someone like me, I can barely wrap my mind around it. But even though I think no way, couldn't do it, that's just crazy, there's a little thing inside my head saying, you know what? Maybe I could do it. Because for me now, it's all about new challenges, stepping outside of your comfort zones and really testing yourselves. Because if you can test yourselves in other areas, you can test yourselves in everyday life. In everyday life, it involves a lot of rejection. It involves so much hard work. But there's no such thing as failure. So half of the journey is the journey getting there. So even if I ultra marathon, get there, I don't deem that as a failure. Just like I don't deem Rico's DNF on the weekend, it's not a failure. It's a stepping stone. As long as you can take some sort of positives away from that, it's never a failure. So never be scared or afraid to test yourselves by trying something new. When you get to my age, it's tough because there is that fear of failure and there's that fear of, I'll be honest, making a fool of yourself. No one wants to make a fool of themselves. But you guys are young. This is when you should be testing yourselves. This is when you should be stepping outside your comfort zones and trying new things. Because if you can do that in other facets of your life, it'll make your job so much easier. Then you can handle the good days, the bad days, and everything in between. But I would love all of you when you leave today to go home and think about something that you can do. One simple thing that you can do that makes you feel a little bit uncomfortable. Because as I said earlier, I want you guys to feel comfortable being uncomfortable. Don't be complacent. Always try and push your limits in all facets of life, not just work, but outside of work. And if you can find an activity that really helps to push your limits, that you can set goals to improve, and eventually, hey, maybe one day you'll be running 100 kilometres. Although I don't advise doing that straight away. I still think that's pretty crazy. But as I said, many of those people on that start line down in the weekend down in Ironman, they were everyday people. Some of these people had only learned to swim a year ago. So it's not like they were elite sports people, they were everyday people just like yourselves that had decided to do something extraordinary. They trained for it, they pushed their limits, and the looks on their faces when they crossed that finish line, some of them at just before, 10 o'clock at night, honestly, it brought tears to my eyes. It is the most emotional, but the most satisfying feeling for them, obviously, but for me to see that these people who probably a year ago would have laughed at the idea of even doing such a thing, to seeing their faces when they got to that finish line. And these people are going to go home and nothing is going to be impossible for them ever again. Just through doing that, because they set themselves a goal, they achieved it, nothing is impossible. And it makes life so much easier because you have a whole fresh perspective. You know that there is no such thing as failure, and that if you really put your mind to it, anything is possible. And I know we hear that expression a lot, anything is possible. And I know there are days when sometimes things just aren't possible, that things just don't go your way, and it's not a great day or a great week or a great month. But if you look at your entire life, from now to when you're 80, one bad month is nothing. It is nothing when you think about your entire life. And you need to come up with strategies and ways to get through the low, because eventually you're going to reach a high. And this happens every day. It happens when you train, it happens when you work. We all have great days, we all have bad days. We have great weeks, bad weeks, but we get through them. And I know all of you are like that because you would not be in this industry if you weren't tough, if you weren't resilient. So I'd like to finish my part of the speech by just going back over. Think of something that inspires you or someone that inspires you. Motivation, it has to come from within. You can't rely on others to motivate you. You must motivate yourself. So find things that inspire and use them to motivate you every day. And every morning, look in the mirror and ask yourself, am I being the best I can be? Consistency is key. So you don't want to be saying this for a week or a month and then decide I couldn't be bothered anymore. Consistency, day in, day out, week in, week out, year in, year out. That's what's important. That's why I was able to be a triathlete at a top level for so many years. And even till today, not racing anymore, consistency, routine is still my #1 priority every day. Now, I'm not expecting you all to go home and become elite athletes or to even take on running, swimming and biking, but I do expect you to go home and at least ask yourself the question, am I being the best I can be? What can I do to make myself a better person? And try and think of an activity that you can come up with that you can do with each other or with family and friends, because it's always better. It's always better if you can do something with a friend like I do with my sister. And hey, we use it to catch up. We talk throughout the whole class, drive people insane, but it's great. I sometimes go to that class in the afternoon and I am in a, I'm in a shitty mood. By the time I finish, and I'm not lying, every single time I finish that class, I leave with a smile on my face, invigorated, ready to take on the next day. So I want you to try and think of something that you can do that's going to make you feel the same way I do, because I can guarantee that it will cross over to work life and you will be better at your job and you'll stay at the top of your game for a lot longer. Thanks.
That was inspiring. Thank you for sharing. I like the part when you said to be comfortable, be uncomfortable. That's something that's one of our take-home lessons today. Okay, of course I made my little research when I get to know you more a little. I read on triathlete.com that I think you were 5 or 6 years old when you first joined an 8K run. Yeah, okay, tell us about that. What did your dad say?
I can't believe you found this for a start, but I started sport very young. I come from a family, my mum and dad were both quite good sports people. My mum was a competitive diver and my dad was a rugby union player, which in Australia, rugby union is as big as basketball here in the Philippines. And my dad, I wanted to run like my dad ran. So at 8 years of age, I entered my very first fun run. And it was only short, I think it was only 5 or 8 kilometres, but you know, as an 8-year-old child, that's a long way. Anyway, my dad knew I was very gung-ho, I was very competitive. So he took me aside before we started. He said, now Belinda, this is your very first long run. It's a long way. It's not a 100-metre sprint. It's a long run. You need to pace yourselves. You need to be patient. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, it's fine. I understand. I know what you mean. He said, well, you know, a lot of people are going to, when that gun goes off, they're going to be sprinting. Don't go with them. You need to be patient. Yeah, Dad, I've got this covered. No problem. I understand. Leave me alone. We'll be fine. Gun went off. What do you think I did? Sprinted off like a maniac because I thought I could do it. I sprinted like a crazy person. Didn't listen to the messages my dad was giving me. And for the last 4 kilometres, my dad was dragging me to the finish line while I was saying, this is too long, I can't do this. Valuable lesson that weekend. Patience, consistency, staying calm when things aren't going your way, because let me tell you, for that last 4 kilometres, I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did. And I honestly thought for a long time, this is too far, I'm going to have to walk. There's nothing wrong with walking, so I did walk. But the most important thing that day was to finish what I said I was going to start, and that was that run, and I got to the finish line. But those lessons are still with me, even to today at 47 years of age.
That's awesome. Okay, now let's move forward to your very first triathlon event. You said it was a nightmare. I read this on asiatry.com. Can you tell us about that, your very first event?
Well, my very first event was back when I used to live in Sydney. I still live in Australia, but I live in a different part of Australia now. So I lived in Sydney and I was in year 12, so last year of school. I was 18 years of age. And I decided to take on this very first triathlon that we'd had at Sydney Harbour. And it was a reasonably long triathlon. It wasn't as long as what we've been talking about, but it was long for me. I borrowed a bike, did a couple of rides around the block, and I thought, yeah, that'll do. Anyway, the swim went okay. The bike ride was from Sydney Harbour across to Bondi Beach. So I know you're probably not very familiar with the terrain, but it's very hilly. So I hadn't really factored that into it. So I jumped on this bike, I only rode it on the flats. Well, I didn't know how to change gears on a bike. I didn't think I'd need to. So I fell off about 3 times. As an 18-year-old, I was so embarrassed that I'd made an idiot of myself. Finally made my way to Bondi Beach, completed the run. So I got to the finish line. So I succeeded in making the finish line, but I was just so mortified that I went into this race so underprepared because I was 18 and I was overly confident. Because while it's good to be confident, you don't want to be overly confident. And as an 18-year-old who'd been doing sport all her life, I went into that race overly confident and I got taught a good lesson.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, now, now that you've retired, what's going on now with your life?
And it was hard, you know, it's when you've been doing something for so many years. As I said, I've been a professional athlete for, I think it was 22 to 23 years. It's your life. And you don't know much else outside of it. So, you know, you don't ask someone to just retire from life. So it was really difficult, but I started putting strategies in place very early. And I think this is a rise. You're all young out here now and you're all well under 30. Oh, I'd love to be that age again. Oh. But you're young and you're energetic and you've got your whole lives in front of you. And I think it's very easy to become complacent and to not put strategies in place for the future. You live for the now. And that's great. I'm not telling you not to do that. You know, when I was an athlete, I lived for the now. I lived for every single race. But about 2 years before I retired, when I came time for me to stop racing, I really, with my husband, we really sat down and we thought about where to from here. What do I do? And I started putting things in place. I wrote down all the things that I love about my sport and things that were going to interest me that I wanted to do. Now, I'm a teacher and I got my teaching degree in physical education. I taught for 12 years before I became a full-time professional athlete. I didn't want to go to that. It just didn't interest me. So I had to think of other things that were going to make me passionate, that were going to bring the best out of me every single day. And I said to my husband, it's triathlon, it's my life, it's what I'm most passionate about. I need to find something within triathlon that's not racing that I can still pursue. And it's something that I think you guys need to think about now, is your future and putting things in place. Is this what you're going to do forever, or are you going to move onwards? But I think you need to start doing your homework, start writing down things that what makes you passionate, what gets you excited, what motivates you to want to get out of bed every day. Hey, and it might be this. You might stay exactly where you are, but you might branch off and do something slightly different. Yes, you're young, but I think you're never too young to start thinking about the future and putting plans in place. I know a lot of professional athletes that haven't done this, and the depression that they feel is real. I mean, how many times do we hear about amazing people committing suicide or starting to drink or take drugs? So many athletes, we hear it every day at home, elite athletes that I've looked up to, that I've aspired to all my life, elite swimmers, elite footballers. And then you see stories in the newspaper that they're in jail, or that they've been caught with drugs, or they've become alcoholics because they've retired from their sport and they haven't put things in place. And it's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking to see people that were at the absolute top of their game fall to the very bottom. And it's because they haven't put things in place for the future. They haven't thought about life after sport. So really, really important point that I want to put across today is thinking about your future and putting strategies in place to deal with it.
Thinking about your future. Wonderful.
Sorry, that sounded really depressing. And I'm sure none of you are out there like that. And you know, it doesn't happen, but when it does happen, when you read about it, you just think it could have been so easy to fix if they just had sat down and thought about their future a bit more.
So planning really is very important.
Very.
No matter what, right? Okay, now, what other extreme sports are you planning to try? Have you tried all of them?
So I did my very first off-road marathon earlier this year. Obviously I've run many marathons in my sport, but they've all been on the road. So my husband and I decided to go across to New Zealand and run off-road marathon, so it's on trails. I'm not sure if you're familiar with New Zealand, but they have the most amazing landscape ever. And there was a run that was a point-to-point run, and it was where The Hobbit was filmed, so you can imagine, absolutely spectacular. Took me just over 4 hours, which is the slowest marathon I have ever run, ever, but it was worth every second because it was just spectacular. And of course, this weekend, I'm flying to Palawan, which I am so excited about because I've been wanting an excuse to get to Palawan since I've been coming to the Philippines, I think for 12 years now. And I'm swimming an 8-kilometre open water swim, which I have never done before. I've swum 3.8 in my races, but never 8K, so I'm a little bit nervous.
So that's now being uncomfortable? Being comfortable, being uncomfortable?
It's gonna be uncomfortable, absolutely. And I'm gonna be nervous that morning before the gun goes off, really, and you'll see it. Because it's something new, it's something I haven't done before. And as I said, at my age, that fear of failure, that fear of will I actually make 8 kilometres? I am definitely nervous, but as much as I don't like that feeling, there's a little crazy part of me that likes it because I'm pushing my boundaries. And at my age, to be able to do something new and to push my boundaries, it makes me feel strong and it makes me feel confident and it makes me feel like I can take on the world.
So being a high-class athlete, you are required to be competitive. In the same way, our sellers are always competitive in their own field. What's the best advice? Final piece of advice to everyone.
I think when I was a sports person, it's all about sponsorship. It's about selling yourself. It's about proving to a company that you're worth it. It's exactly the same for every one of you out there. You're selling yourselves every day. You're selling properties. You're getting knockbacks. You're getting people tell you, no, thank you, not interested. It's exactly what I used to get. And it's hard. Being rejected is hard for anyone. That is human nature. Nobody wants to be rejected. So, as far as I am concerned, you get knocked down once, you get back up. You get knocked down again, you get back up again. And that's exactly what we do in sport. We have a bad race, we finish off the podium, we finish last. Yes, I always say to my friends, you have one day to feel sorry for yourself. One day. It's Rico when he didn't finish. I said you have one day to feel sorry for yourself. Once that 24 hours is up, you dust yourself off, you get back, you look forward, it's a new day. And I think in your competitive industry, that's exactly the mindset you need to have. You're going to face rejection every day, every week. But you have to get back up, dust yourselves off, be resilient, come up with new ways to try and tackle that rejection and stay competitive, stay on top of your game and be positive.
You are a true inspiration to everyone. An Ironman legend, Belinda Granger. Okay, now let's call on our RSDs and RSHs to join us on stage, of course with our man club to have our photo taken. Also, to give the token of appreciation to Belinda.
And before you all get up, allow me, I want to take a photo of you because I think this is awesome that you have all come here out this morning. You've taken your own time out to listen to me and I hope you get rewarded for it. But do you mind if I take a quick photo of you guys?
All right. Okay. Please join us on stage. Time Ironman champion Belinda Granger is Okay, we'll ask everybody to stand. I think she wants a photo with you guys. So she's gonna stay up there.
Very well.
I can stand up.
Oh, she drowned in the crowd. But I think she likes it. Okay. Thank you, leaders. And now let's welcome on stage Alveo's Ironman himself, Mr. Aris Kahuko.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you, Belinda. Okay, good morning, Team Alveo! Kamusta? How are you? It's so inspiring yung binanggit ni Belinda, di ba kaya? So, what motivates you? Baka naman yung motivation yung mga crush nyo dito sa ano. Di ba? Does that count your crushes as a motivation? Okay, anyway, I guess it's fitting. It's almost half of the year, and I guess what's our battle cry for this year? Can we shout one for us? Okay. Medyo gusto ko yung malakas I want the other side of the building to hear a shout for this year. Yeah. Can we all stand up just to? Alright. So if I tell the signal, let's all shout our battle cry for this year. Okay. Team Alveo, take it, race the game. Team Alveo, take it, race the game. Okay, thank you. Alright. So let me ask, have you raced your game this year already? Sino? Who has raced their game this year? Everyone? Show hands. Who has raced their game this year? Awesome. Okay. Kasi kaya ko sinasabi, I think as of Alveo has raced. Okay. So what does that mean? Okay. Can I have the first slide? So, as of this year, as of today, we're still number one. Okay? Alveo is number one. So, we have our 25% share in the industry. So what does that mean? Actually, there are two interpretations. So yes, we're number one. And next is, there's 75% more. Tama? So we can sell a lot more. A lot of pieces. There's 75% of the market that we're not capturing. There's 75% of the market that we have not sold our properties yet. So opportunities are there. Okay, but then we're the number one. Tama? So Alveo has raised their game again. Tama? Okay, congratulations. Alright, what's next? Next slide, please. So as of April, actually, I was supposed to show the as of May numbers, but then let me show first the as of April. As of April, across all Ali brands, who's number one? Alveo, right? So, again, congratulations. So we're almost, I think, between ALP and Alveo, that's around 15 billion. We're almost at par at 15 billion. But then, as of May, I haven't done the slides for May kasi parang hindi ko masyadong mayabang eh. Alam bakit? Medyo naunahan na tayo ng ALP. ALP has overtaken us. So they're around 2 billion better than us as of May. But then, alam ko naman bakit eh. Kasi medyo may mga nag-slide tayo launch. But then if this launches have pushed through, I think we're still number one. Okay, because I know, hindi tayo magpapatalo. Tama? So who's number one laban? We can't be number two here in Ayala Land, right? We're still number one dapat. So again, congratulations to everyone. I guess if everything pushes through, no contest. Okay? So with your tenacity, with your grit, I believe lahat na launch natin masisela. Okay? Okay, thank you. So next time. Okay, so as of April, we've grown 6% from previous year. Then in terms of booking, we've also grown 14%. So we're growing. Okay, so it means we're raising the game. So I do hope each and every one of you also has been raising their game. Have you grown from last year? Have you sold more from last year? Have you earned more from last year? Who has earned more? Yung mga sumigaw dito eh. Dito yung masaya. Who has earned more? Yes. Okay. Yeah. So marami pa. Maaga pa naman. We're still at start of June pa lang naman. Diba? So lots of months pa. Marami pang makakakuha ng mas maraming komisyon. Okay? Alright, next slide please. Also, we have impressive results for the first half of the year. Who has been joining the lot of sales natin for this year? Wala? So kayo lang yung nakabenta na. Congratulations everyone because even with the lottery alone, we've sold 2 billion worth. I mean, alam ni Sharian, that's the cheapest selling event natin. Wala silang dito. Wala man lang pakain sa inyo, no? Pero nakabenta ng 2 billion, tama? Okay, so congratulations. Also, actually, I'm happy with this, with the improved booking. It's because it's not only sales we're doing, but we're efficient, more efficient in terms of booking the sale. Because we know that when we book the sale, doon lalabas yung commission sa atin. Okay? Right now, yung mga nagmamakaawa na extend yung mga reservations, bumaba na. We had an overdue reservation late of last year at 30%. So ngayon, down to 20%. So we've again raised our game. Okay, so congratulations to everyone. And I believe the RSTs have been working so hard to make sure that we book those sales. Okay? Yeah, so what's next? So next. Okay, so of course, successful launches natin. So, sold out, Montala. Congratulations. And I guess every time na may lumalabas sa Montala, pinagkakagulan eh. Siguro just a brief background, when the last lottery came out for I think 10 lots or a couple of lots, there are around 30 people who joined the lottery for those 10 lots. Imagine that. So there's appetite. Okay? So I do hope those who has appetite also for selling are all here. Okay. Also for Ardea, technically we also sold it out. And also for Callisto, a 600 million sale. And lastly, the latest one is in Amenta, 100% sold. So we are raising the game. Okay, even if challenges are there, we're still the number one. Okay, so congratulations everyone. Okay, next slide please. Also, just to give you a brief brief update, we've also delivered a couple of projects for this first quarter. What are those? So, turned over Sequoia. So, maraming din nakabenta yan. We've turned over BPI Corporate Center in Cebu. So, look at those beautiful buildings. Montala Phase 1, we've turned it over as well. And HSS Corporate Plaza, yung gem of the office building natin. Okay, so we've not only selling it, but we're also keeping the promise of turning over these projects beautifully and on time. Right, next slide. Also, looking ahead, sige, what's the story in the next half of, probably next half or next quarter of the year. Okay, so siguro ito yung this is the most exciting part of my presentations because I know marami mag-react sa'yo. Okay, so first time, what's happening? I'll be launching over 40 billion of launches this coming months. So, who was that? My 40 billion worth of projects to be launched. Is that market share of 25 will go higher? Is that improvement of 6% from last year of sales. I guess your commissions, your earnings will be higher next couple of months. Also, there will be 100% support sales from PD and sales dev. I think PD is not around because PD is making sure those 40 billion worth of launches will come out. Okay, so we need that. Okay, so siguro din. And fresh from the news, I guess it's probably, I have to announce it here. Callisto, okay? Callisto will now be releasing 200 units of Inventor Callisto today. Okay, so I guess yung mga nag-aantay, those waiting for the Inventor in Callisto, it will be out. And siguro yung mga naghahanap ng studio units dyan. Studio? Mga 80% na puro studio. Okay, so lalabas na siya. Okay, so congratulations and good luck to everyone. Mga nakakatina. I know nabitin kayo dun sa priority telling natin, pero right now, we're releasing the inventory. Okay, so mukhang excited ba?
Yes.
Excited. Okay. Also, we'll also be releasing a couple of studio units in Vietnam. So yung mga nag-aantay din doon sa Vietnam, lalabas na rin po. Okay? So I do hope ganahan na kayo. Okay? In a couple of minutes I'll call Char, pero siguro wait until the last presentation of Sales Dev because that's where you get more excited. Okay? And I do hope everyone would still raise their game. Tama? Who would raise their game this coming quarter, half the year? Who would raise their game? Yeah, I will definitely do it. Okay, so I do hope with the upcoming launches, with the upcoming activities, lahat po tayo makabenta. Okay, naman yung gusto natin dito. Tama? Okay, so I do hope everyone would take a piece of the pie of that 75% of the market. That should be ours. Alright. And we're the number one, so that should be ours. Alright, so again, I'm challenging everyone here as much as Belinda's challenge everyone to be comfortable, uncomfortable. Alright, so again, let's raise the game. Okay, so thank you everyone, and I'm on the chart.
Thank you, sir. Now to give us some more good news, let's welcome on stage our Division Manager for Marketing, Ms. Char Chua.
Good morning, Team Alveo. So congratulations everyone for a great first half of the year. So I'm just here to give a couple of quick updates for marketing. Just a reminder, congratulations everyone. Alveo recently won several awards for both Styles, sino ba nakabenta ng Styles and Portico. So both of them actually won both local and international awards. In the recent Asia Pacific Property Awards, Styles has won the Best Office Development Philippines, plus an additional 5-star award for the same category. And Portico won Best Residential High-End Development in the Philippines. And then just recently, Aries actually accepted the award on behalf of Alveo. So in the Philippine Property Awards, Portico again won the Best High-End Condo Development in Metro Manila. And again, Styles won Best Office Development in the Philippines. So we've actually started promoting these awards digitally. You will also see it in newspapers and PR. So I hope you really get to use this to your advantage in promoting not just these two developments, but all the other projects of Alveo in general to show, you know, how Alveo projects really are internationally and locally recognized for being quality developments, okay? Just a refresher also, we've also recently opened our new model units. We have Park Cascades in our BGC showroom. So this particular unit actually has yung smart home features that you can show to your clients, which can be an upgrade to their units. Next. Callisto also opened a new model unit in Circuit Makati's showroom. So you can also bring your clients there, especially since there's reopened units for Callisto, so you can show them the new model unit. And then finally, we also have a new model unit for the one bedroom in the Portico showroom site. So this one is in partnership with Modern Brands. Modern Brands actually is also offering special furnishing packages that you can have your clients avail of. So they will provide packages that already includes all the furnitures and basic appliances and electronics. So easy move in for your clients. We will actually be scheduling road shows to your respective divisions to explain the package and show you the model units for Portico. We've also released some new images, project images to help you when you're selling. In particular, this one is a drone shot of Casa Luntian. So it's a mix of actual shots and renderings. So you get to really appreciate the entire development of KL in Tagaytay. So hopefully you will get to use it for your presentations to clients. We will also be developing new materials, booth displays for your MSF activities. So that's currently in development. And also in terms of helping you with your digital selling and digital marketing, we've been releasing regular project emailers that you can forward to your clients as well. And finally, just some internal milestones to help sell the story of the different projects. Upcoming would be a groundbreaking of Orient Place, Park Cascades, and just recently we had our groundbreaking for Patio Suites in Davao, and we will also have top of milestones for both High Park and the Veranda. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. I want you to all give your attention to our screen and watch this. 1% on commission. Okay. When I say Alveo, you say raise the game. Alveo! Alveo! Leave no trace